one thing that really struck me when I read Andrew Sullivan's article in New York Magazine on the opioid crisis a few years ago was the basic observation he made that the epidemics, the drug sort of problems of the 80s and 90s were associated with uppers, right? Were associated with party drugs and things you take to be able to dance all night, or things you take to feel euphoric. And obviously those were dangerous drugs that had many negative social effects as well. But opioids are downers, right? They're the thing you take to veg out in front of a TV and not feel depressed, not feel pain for 12 hours. And that's a really interesting indication of where our society is at, even relative to a few decades ago. How deep do you think this problem of social isolation now goes in the United States? And is that connected to the broader sense of malaise and anger that we have in the country at the moment?
Yeah, I think that we become increasingly atomized. Our definitions of what constitutes a good relationship makes us very fragile. The notion of boundaries, however useful they are, we're constantly evaluating whether a relationship is good for us or bad for us. That puts enormous pressure and stress on the self. It also creates a lot of anxiety. So everybody's sort of looking for their tribe, but tribes can be very fragile, and they aren't necessarily able to provide the kind of corrective feedback that we all need, that we're more used to getting from family and closest friends. Now, this isn't to idealize family, because I think, to your point, families can be very hurtful and disruptive, and traumas are a real thing and can occur in families. It's just what is considered to be traumatic, harmful, abusive, or neglectful behavior today has radically changed. There was an important article by the Australian psychologist Nick Haslam, who talked about how in the past 3 decades, there's been an increasing, he calls it concept creep, in terms of what we define as being harmful, abusive, neglectful behavior. And on the one hand, that's great. That provides us a way to talk in a much more detailed way about the way that we feel injured or hurt or misunderstood by others. On the other hand, it pathologizes fairly normal slings and arrows of family life. And it presents a kind of a idealization of the possibilities of parenthood in ways that don't really exist and aren't very realistic.